Okay, so we'll move on to our next movie, and it's called Hereafter, and we have a clip for you to look at.
Can I ask you a question?
Would it be okay if I told you the answer was no?
You don't even know what I was gonna ask.
Yes, I do. You can ask me if I can do a reading for you. Look, Melanie, I barely know you, but I like you. A lot, really a lot. And is there any way we could just pretend that maybe we go back in time and just forget about the phone ringing and my brother's message and we never had this conversation?
Why?
Because if we open the door and go down that road, any chance that we had of having something normal will just be gone. I mean, sometimes, knowing everything about someone, it seems nice, but really, maybe it's actually better to hold stuff back.
Okay, you just saw a clip for Hereafter, which is the new Clint Eastwood movie, and in real film Snobs territory, that's always something to look forward to. The movie stars Matt Damon as a working class American guy named George, who it has a special gift that he can sort of talk with people in the afterlife, and his story is intertwined with two other stories: a woman in France who has a near-death experience, and a little boy in England who loses someone very close to him. And it sort of eventually mixes the stories together. And it's an interesting movie for Clint Eastwood. And if someone had showed me this movie and hadn't put Clint Eastwood's name on it, I don't know if I would have said, that's a Clint Eastwood movie, with the exception of maybe the music, which sounded sort of typical and very sparse musical interludes. And so in that way, it was different. I liked the movie. I can't say I loved the movie. It's not a 4-star movie to me.
Yeah, here's the problem with the movie, and everyone I know that has seen it enjoyed it. I very much so enjoyed it. It's 3.5 stars. I was expecting something different, and I know that has a lot to do with marketing. It certainly has a lot to do with the name. It certainly has to do with the plot of how things are explained. I think that's did a big injustice for the movie. This is about 3 people who have experienced loss, and that's pretty much what it is. One happens to be someone who's a psychic, whatever you want to call it. It's not about the hereafter, so to speak. It's not about him going around seeing dead people or helping people with that's not what it's about.
It's not the Sixth Sense.
Well, you expect it to go in one direction. You kept expecting it to happen this, and it's just about these 3 people and their lives and the people around them, and they just happen to collide at some point. And that's what it's about. So when you go in there, and after about halfway through, that's why I thought, that's because it opens the big sensational beginning. I mean, there's so many misleads in the movie, but there's so many misleads. You think, oh my gosh, this is what this is going to be like. This is going to be awesome. We're going to see all these people and their experiences. No, that's not what it's about. It's about these 3 people who have experienced loss. And on that level, it's a beautiful film. It's a wonderful film. If I would have not known anything about it, not even the name, don't even show me the name, and so I know I would have enjoyed this more, but because you kept expecting it to be something else, I kept trying to, put the square peg in the round hole.
Yeah, I think also the beginning almost set it up in a negative way. Not in a negative way, but I can't see very many movies that actually open with the climax. Which to me, in the beginning almost seemed like the part you build up to in a movie, and you have the big scene, and then you're like, oh, okay, and then you have some
special effects part over
with this scene. Well, yeah, but it was very thrilling. I mean, it was very realistically shot, I thought, and I was on the edge of my seat watching it. And then the whole rest of the movie has a very slow, very meditative pace, which is fine if you're already in the mood for that. But after being set up for this huge action thing in the beginning, I'm like, I'm all riled up then, and then I'm like, oh, okay, now we're settling into a European art film mode, almost. That feeling.
Yeah, it did. It just like I said, you keep expecting for it to do something else.
Right.
And not that there's anything wrong with it. And I did enjoy. I mean, Matt Damon does a fantastic job.
He's quite good.
Definitely, I like this much more than the previous one he did with
Clint Eastwood, Invictus. I liked it much better.
I liked it much more than that. I thought all the performances were absolutely fantastic. I especially loved the storyline. I mean, any one of them, they could have just had the movie be about one of them, and I would have thoroughly enjoyed it. Especially the twins. That was very touching, and I really enjoyed that. And so, yeah, it really explored these people's lives, but. Yeah, I wouldn't say put that big, the big science special effects at the end. I mean, I don't know. It's just the people who survived 2012. This is what happened. I don't know. It just
Maybe not even conclude that scene, or it would have been shot
don't know.
differently. I don't know. It's hard to say because it was a good scene. But
it's wonderful, but like you said, it puts you up for something else.
yeah, and especially with the marketing of the film, like you said.
Yeah.
So, and I also want to mention the woman who plays the French journalist in the movie, who I thought was quite good, Cécile de France, and actually all the whole cast is quite good. The little boys in England, I mean, really interesting looking kids. They have a unique look, and I liked that. I thought they were unique. There was this darkness in his eyes that you don't see in a lot of kids on screen. I don't know. I just thought they were unique looking, and I just thought it almost seemed like a European art film that was a Clint Eastwood movie, and so I think there was a lot of sort of confusion about what kind of movie you were watching, like you said.
Yeah. But it's still fantastic and worth seeing.
It's worth seeing. It's good. It just it was not as great as Clint Eastwood's greatest movies. It's not as bad as his worst movies. So.
Oh my God! They're gonna put that right on the poster. Oh, okay. So we're gonna move on to the list. It's our Noir list. This is the very last movie on the Noir list, and I'm sure all of you out there who watch regularly know we've been working our way through Noir. I can't get enough of it. Angela's done for now.
For now, I might come back.
And we'll start on a new list here in the next episode, which we're going to go through Criterion movies. Ooh. And so this week's is A Kiss of Death. This was directed by Henry Hathaway, who also directed a film we recently reviewed called Niagara. And he also, what would you say was True Grit, which of course has now been remade by the Coen brothers. I want to see it. And it also stars Victor Matura, who plays Nick Bianco, as a streetwise a gangster or criminal type who is sent to prison and then turns into a stool pigeon in order to get out of prison to tend to his orphaned children. I know it sounds weird. His wife died. That made the kids put in an orphanage, hence that made them orphans. I know, because confusing. Anyway, so then he tries to live on the straight life. This is a fantastic, this is a really cool idea for a noir, because usually we see all the crime, it's always built up to the big bust, it's always whatever it is. This is a guy who's trying to go straight. It certainly is, reminds me of films like Straight Time with Dustin Hoffman, which is way wicked. This is I really liked his character. I really like what he was trying to do. He's trying, being a guy of honor, but honor amongst thieves, but definitely trying to be a good father figure. And so it's not what you would normally expect with a noir. So I really enjoyed that.
This movie always reminded me a little bit as I was watching about what my film professor said about On the Waterfront, a movie he's very critical of. Is the best movie ever made about a rat. Which, for some reason, that line, that sort of came to me when I was watching this. Now, the reason to see this movie, Nick Bianco is very good in it.
It's fantastic.
But Richard Widmark as the criminal, as the laughing hyena criminal in the movie, is one of the most wicked on-screen villains you will ever see in a movie. If you like just a good villain, one that you can sink your teeth into,
that's right.
one that's willing to even hurt the disabled, the infirm, and the old, you will.
That's right. He pushed it.
Don't
that's
say
right.
it on screen.
That's
what
right.
he
I forgot
does
about
in the
that.
movie,
It's been a while
but
since I've seen
it's a
it,
very
yeah.
wicked scene. And I mean,
Yeah.
and he just, and it was his first big movie he ever got, and you could tell he's just chewing the scenery, and it's great. I mean, he's loving playing this character. It's just, he's like the opposite of the Nick Bianco. It's sort of like one guy who went to prison, who just, through a series of bad incidences because he had to feed his kids, committed crimes, and here's the other guy, a true sociopath, a guy that just loves to commit crimes and is willing to do it at any cost. So it's great to have those.
He's a guy that you fear. I mean, when he comes in, you fear this guy. That he is, he literally makes your blood curdle. He definitely, makes you just shudder in fear. And you gotta love that. And he completely relishes in this role. And it's not so over the top. It's not, Nicolas Cage. It's not so over the top, Nicolas Cage. But it's definitely right there where, I wish the Joker had been more like him, or if he could have played the Joker.
Well, and it's great because he's like an all-American looking guy. He's blonde hair. I would assume blue eyes. It's in black and white, but I don't know. But good-looking sort of all-American guy. But then when he turns that, he there's just this. It's almost like you see a switch flip, and then the wickedness comes in, and oh gosh, it's a great performance. I mean, for me, it's reason enough to see the movie. The one thing the movie's lacking is a really memorable female character for me. I love a good film noir with a, like Angel Face or something with Gene Simmons. A real femme fatale, or a woman who's got really interesting, or even like Rita Hayworth. It has different angles. The women in this movie were sort of forgettable, but other than that, I can't fault it. I give it 4 stars.
That's absolutely fantastic film, and I look forward to doing some more on the Noir list. But
we'll get back to it after the Criterion Collection. So those who've been following our list, you can find the Criterion Collection new list. The new list will be starting with the next episode on our website at realfilmsnobs.com, and then we'll be moving through those next. So
Alrighty.
we'll get back to film noir. I'm sure there's lots of them out there.
Oh yeah. And then we move on to the other list, which is the list. There's the list, and there's other kinds of lists we have there. And this is the list Angela and I are actually working on, the buried treasures. These are the ones that y'all gonna have to dig real hard and pull in favors from coworkers or friends. You're not gonna find these movies at Redbox. You're not gonna find them at Blockbuster. If you do, let us know. If you do find them, another way for people, the public, to find these movies, do email us at our website. That would be a great service that we could certainly direct a lot of our viewers to. And this is Jean Renoir's Day in the Country. About 48 minutes long, so it's a real quick sit through. But this is a Parisian family go out into the country for a relaxing visit, and the daughter and her mother kind of go off on their own and frolic around with two of the local boys, and yeah, it's a typical, European type of movie where
Well, it's
people
interesting.
go.
It starts off almost so Victorian. You know,
Yes.
they're wearing the big flouncy, very
Yeah.
Victorian. It's supposed to be sort of a period piece. And so it's these Parisians out in the country. And at first you think, oh, okay, it's just a Jean Renoir little frolic in the country. And then before you know it, the wife and the daughter are like, come with us.
Mom
We're-
just goes, Mom's
Yes,
ready to
and then
go.
before you know it, the mother's in the boat with the one young guy, much younger than her guy, and she's like, "Oh, let's go for it," And then the movie takes a whole other turn, which was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fun. We actually did watch this one together. We broke our own rule, which we do occasionally, and watched this one together. And we couldn't help giggling as we were watching these two Victorian French women go off and.
And I love that when they come out to the country, the country guys are sitting there and they're making comments about these Parisians, and then there's comments made back and forth, kind of under people's breaths or
Right.
around corners and making fun of one another. But sure enough, boy, they hit it off, and I was really impressed with Mom. The daughter, she was a little reluctant there. Mom didn't care. Mom's husband, he wasn't too. He was more interested in relaxing. Literally relaxing and taking a long nap, and Mom really wanted to go and explore the wilderness there with the young man.
Well, it's interesting because this movie, I mean, it was very charming and I enjoyed it, but it's on a bunch of the lists.
Tons.
That's why it's on the list. It's on like the Time Out Film Guide, top 100 of all time, and I think even on the French Film Critics top 100 list. And I'm watching it going, I feel like I was missing something. Maybe you have to be French to totally understand the full meaning.
Maybe it's
of
because it was shot outside. I didn't get to do as much investigation as I would like to.
I looked up a few
out.
things. I mean, it is based on a story by Guy Maupassant, who's a very famous French novelist who was very
Right.
popular. And
Jules and Jim, correct?
yes, and Renoir, of course, was just popular. And apparently, the Time Out review said that the studio actually wanted him to make this into a full length, and they asked him to go back and reshoot it, and he sort of refused. And so it was up in the air for a while whether it was even going to be released, because they wanted him to add on to it. But he was like, "No, this is it. This is what I wanted to shoot. This is done." So.
Wow, this could have been like the short that opened up Children of Paradise or something like that.
Yeah, you never know.
Practically a short compared to that movie.
Well, that's true compared to a 2.5-hour movie, but it was a fun movie, and it's definitely worth seeing. I would love to see it on Better Transfer. We watched it on sort of a pretty degraded,
What's that
degraded
called? VHS?
Yes, we watched it on a not very good
Rocky,
quality
remember
VHS.
VHS? Do you remember?
Remember back in the old days? Dan doesn't remember
Yeah,
VHS.
Dan
Our
doesn't
camera
know.
operator's like, "What's VHS?" I think I was born when that was going away.
As I would explain to my nephew, that's the clock on top of Uncle Brian's television. That's the That's the VCR player. Is the one that has the clock. That's
Yeah.
DVD players don't have clocks.
Well, the old ones did. They had
Did?
the time, yeah.
Huh.
The
I never
old
had
ones
the clocks
did.
to know. I never had a clock.
Yeah, no,
in
the
front
new
of mine on
ones
the
don't,
DVD
but
player.
I think the old
Isn't that
ones
weird?
did. I'm pretty sure.
All
I
right.
might be wrong. Anyway.